Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here. Thanks for joining me for this edition of Media Mark's Weather Tropical and Wintry Edition here, Thanksgiving Travel Edition. So we're going to take a look, first quickly with the tropics and Vest 99L. This system is on its way out. Dry air and wind shear is just killing it here. Out here in the Atlantic, that may affect the Azores in the next several days. We may have a subtropical or a tropical storm in the making here. We'll take a look at that. And then as we get up here into parts of North America, we're going to be looking at a big stormy time of it here. As we go out in time, we'll see just how many coastal systems we could be seeing over the next several days. And we'll take a look and see which areas could be the most problematic with Thanksgiving travel. Let's get into it. So here's our Vest 99L system here into the Caribbean. It doesn't even look like at this point there's going to be any showers that are going to really cause any major issues here. We do see a little bit of a flare-up as we get towards, Thursday into Friday here as we head towards Nicaragua and Costa Rica. But nothing out of your ordinary here. And look at that. For the most part, it looks like, with the exception for the Eastern Gulf here, where we have a complex of showers and thunderstorms, as we head towards the weekend, the 25th here, we don't seem to have too much. Maybe a few showers here towards Jamaica. The big story is going to be out here in the Atlantic. Let's just back this up. See this area of low pressure that's diving southeastward here? So this is the tail end of a frontal boundary, and this happens a lot this time of year. Look at this system, how it's going to just congeal and just keep reforming out here. Now, as you can see, the Azores are out in this particular region. So the Western Azores are right over here. The main Azore Islands are here further to the east. So we'll have to keep a very close eye on this. Here's North America way over here in Europe. So this system may pass just to the west of the Azores, or it may actually, depending on how this high pressure builds in, push it a bit further to the east. But it's something we'll have to definitely keep an eye on here. You can see there is a system as we head towards the 28th here into the Western Gulf, Southwestern Gulf. We'll have to keep an eye on as well. So just briefly switching over here to the GFS model, you can see Vest 99L just really barely holding on here. GFS showing a very similar picture here. I don't think the system can really revive itself at this point. And look at that. Dry air and wind shear are just taking over. It does approach Nicaragua and Costa Rica as we get towards, say, the 24th and to the 25th, so towards the weekend here. But, it doesn't look like anything to really write home about here. Here's that area of storminess out here. Let's just back this up, actually. So here's the tail end of the frontal boundary. As we, let's not bounce down to South America there. All right, so as we continue to go in time here towards the 23rd, Thursday, into the 24th, yeah, the GFS really showing the storm winding up. It is a bit further to the east here on the GFS, so this could actually affect the Azores, potentially as a subtropical or a tropical storm. So it's something we'll have to keep an eye on here as we go in time. But, as we head across the rest of the Atlantic hurricane season, pretty much wrapping up the end of this month. Here is an area, another tail end of a frontal boundary we'll have to keep an eye on. But, wind shear, especially with El Nino strengthening, is just way too strong to get any major large-scale systems, tropical systems this time of year. So let's take a look at drier analysis here, thanks to Tropical Tidbits. There is Vest 99L. Yeah, it does get a little bit of a moisture surge here on Wednesday, but the wind shear is just terrible on this system. And look at the dry air flooding in behind it here for Thursday into Friday. So I just don't expect... Look at the dry air, for that matter, from the Gulf down to the Caribbean, coming in from the east and coming out of the west here into parts of the Gulf. It just does not look very favorable. And as we get over here into the North Atlantic, let's see our next potential, maybe subtropical or tropical storm. It is winding up here just southwest to the Azores. You can see on the map, here is the Azores. There's our potential next system by Friday. Could this be Vince? Maybe. I'm not going to throw that out there and say that because... Look at that. We've had so many systems that could have been Vince that ended up not being it, but it's possible. But there it is, riding just west of the Azores as we get into Monday the 27th, and then winding up as a cold core system eventually by December 1st as it approaches parts of Western Europe here. So heading to the Caribbean here for your rainfall. Look at this. Jamaica and Cayman Islands, Hispaniola, barely seeing any rain. Look at Cuba's not seeing barely anything. It's Nicaragua and Costa Rica here especially right along the Nicaraguan Costa Rica border. That's where you're going to see upwards 125, 150 millimeters of rainfall. So, yeah, it could be a lot worse with this Invest 99, but it will be weakening, dry air. I still think you're going to see some heavy rain, though, upwards of 4, maybe as much as 6, 7 inches of rain here. And as we head across the Eastern Caribbean here, the Bahamas, Dominican Republic, Haiti, look at down on Trinidad and Tobago here. As we head towards, say, the weekend here, there's going to be a little bit of a wave action here with, an area of low pressure. You're going to see upwards of 40, 50 millimeters of rainfall, maybe 60 millimeters, 1.5 to 2 inches. Up here into parts of Puerto Rico as well, you'll be getting some of this moisture that's being sheared apart here by Invest 99L. And as we head up towards the Bahamas here, you can see the eastern Bahamas starting to get some rainfall, upwards of 40 millimeters here as we head towards Sunday the 26th. So a little bit of a wave heading up that direction as well. And what's going on here into the Western Pacific, didn't want to leave you out here. Lots of showers and thunder shower activity here across the Philippines and southern Vietnam. But you know what? This does not look bad for this time of year. Typhoon season is kind of taking a lull here. It looks like, though, by the 27th, we'll get another system approaching from the east here. Does it have a chance of development? This is probably the best chance a system has for development as we head towards November 29th here. So it's something we'll keep an eye on here as we head out in time. Do I think it's going to become a tropical storm or typhoon? Likely not. And here across the Eastern Pacific, we are watching a little area that bears watching, about a 30% chance through day 7. Look at this. As we go through the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, look at that. Yeah, this system actually going north into cooler water. It is interesting, though. It looks like the moisture from it could make it all the way to the southern Baja California and the western coastline of Mexico. So let's get into our winter storm outlook here. A couple days ago, we actually had a much better chance, but things are this kind of reminds you a little bit of the past couple winters where, things popped up on the models and then they didn't actually materialize. So as we get towards, let's just back this up just a tad. So as you're getting into Thanksgiving travel, the 22nd and then into the 23rd, it doesn't look that bad across the east. You do have some snow showers here in southeastern Canada, northern New York, and northern New England. This out here on the Intermountain West, this is a trouble spot. If you're going to be traveling, this is going to be a problem here. So this is your big trouble spot here, especially the mountains of Nevada, Utah, up into Idaho, Wyoming, and then eventually here into Colorado as we head in time here. So this is going to be pinwheeling towards the southeast as we head on into Friday as well, Friday the 25th. Look what's going on here across the east, though. You do have some showers here across South Florida. That's going to be a thing, as we continue to go in time here. But let's just back this up just a bit as we go into the 22nd, 23rd. So it doesn't look too bad for travel conditions. This low pressure will be moving out Tuesday night into Wednesday. So that big old messy mixture up there in northern New England and northern New York, that'll become a thing of the past as we head on into Wednesday into Thursday here. So this is some great news if you have travel plans. This will be kicking out pretty quickly all the way up into New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and then up into the Canadian Maritimes. You could get some snow on the northern side of that. But look at this. In all honesty, it could be a lot worse. Now, we do get a little bit of a weakness here and maybe some lake enhancements, some scattered snow showers, but this is not going to be anything to write home about here. High pressure is going to be building in from the west here, and as you can see, look at this across the Gulf of Mexico here. That heads towards Florida, so Florida's continuing to get some great beneficial rains here. And as we head throughout the weekend, look what happens. This energy from the Intermountain West, you look up here in Canada, it just high pressure's dominating everything. So most of the weather, that's why I'm focusing so much on the lower 48 here, because that's where the big weather is actually going to be occurring with our subtropical jet. Now, here is that next system starting to develop as we get into the 25th. What is going on with this system? Well, we got high pressure retreating to the east coast here. Look what starts to happen. We have an impulse of energy that decides to head way up north here, drawing up some warm air. So that's going to promote some showers here all the way up into Ohio. This is the 26th. So on the backside of it, you're going to start to see some snow showers developing, rain changing to snow. Parts of Texas here, showers as well, but it does not look like the big massive low pressure that was going to rampage across the south here. And look at this. it looks like coastal development is, at least on this model run, is a little bit too far south and east here to really phase with the northern stream branch here. We do start to get, initially here on the 26th, some wet snowflakes mixing in, especially at higher elevations. And then behind it, you really start to kick in that lake effect behind it on the 27th. But this is not like a major synoptic winter storm outlook. You can see the systems are fairly fast moving. This is a very robust pattern. And high pressure is going to be dominant here. Now, see this next coastal that was showing up a couple days ago towards December 1st. It is trending out to sea too. Now, you see there is kind of a trough of low pressure bending these isobars backwards. So you start to see some enhancement of snow showers and ice, but it's really too far out to get into details on a system like this. So it's a wait and see type thing. The pattern is there potentially, but look at here. You start to see what's happening on the West Coast here. There's a big old low up here. Pineapple Express kicking in here into central northern California. Look at our next system here across Texas and the Western Gulf. This is what really starts to get cranking here. And we'll have to keep an eye on this because look at this. The energy dives here into the Gulf of Mexico. High pressure kind of blocking it across the U.S. East Coast. And what's happening here, this has happened time and time again past winters. We have the energy here along the East Coast, and then this energy way up here into the Great Lakes and Northeast is bottled too far to the north, so you don't really get that coastal initialization, although it looks like it's trying to initialize something here right around December 4th. So I wanted to show you the European run here. Let's take a look. I'm skipping out here. If we just skip through the Thanksgiving holiday, there is our system moving out for the 22nd into the 23rd here. That's some great news. Smooth sailing for traveling here across the east, but this is what I really wanted to show you as we head towards the 26th. Here is a little bit different solution than the GFS here. Low pressure riding up the East Coast here. We could potentially have a system developing just a tad to the east of Cape Cod there and eventually towards Nova Scotia. So even the European model has come further east on these systems. And look at this. This energy here across the northern jet stream branch is just hanging way too far back. So by the time this system is moved way out, it doesn't even have time to phase with this system. All right, so our HRRR future radar model here. We got a line of convection here along the East Coast, heavy rain, wind. This system has a lot of wind with it, even in the areas where you're getting rain. Look at the wintry precipitation here eroding from the capital district of northern New York here, all the way here into the Adirondacks, the white, the green mountains here. Really getting some wet snowflakes, sleet pellets mixing, and even reports of freezing rain. Burst of heavier wintry precipitation here overnight in Concord, all the way up into Vermont, and then eventually Maine here. We'll get into those snowfall amounts momentarily here, but look at this. As we head towards 7 a.m. on Wednesday morning here, there's that low pressure trying to initialize here. Most of the wintry precipitation is way up here in southeast Canada, Maine, and northern Vermont and New Hampshire. It's mostly scattered showers behind it. You see, even over here towards the North Shore of Lake Erie and Cleveland, Erie, and Buffalo here, we're looking at, some areas where we could see some scattered showers coming off the lakes here. So it is an interesting pattern here behind it. We just don't have the cold air, though, to produce any of those snowflakes. So it's looking a little bit warmer than we actually anticipated here. You start to see, as we head throughout the day on the Wednesday here, continuing to see that lake enhancement behind. So we might continue to see some of these scattered showers. Just doesn't look like cold enough for snow, though. Here in northern New England, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, we're dealing with that wintry precipitation winding up here. And some of this could pack a punch. And then we get another piece of energy here coming down on the 23rd, Thanksgiving Day. So we might actually be getting a Georgian Bay connection here with a lake effect band, but it is marginal temperatures for snow. And as we head across the rest of the country, if we just kick this back, the southeast here will be getting some very beneficial rains. If you are in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and North Florida, this is great news for you throughout the morning hours of your Wednesday. You could pick up an inch or two maybe locally higher. And out here on the west coast, that next system diving into Oregon and then eventually the Intermountain West, you can see that big area of snow creating some travel problems for you Thanksgiving travelers. And look at this here across South Texas. I did not want to leave you guys out as well. Look at this. So let's just kick this back a little bit. There is that system. It's kind of coming out of the Western Gulf here. By Thanksgiving Day at 1 p.m., you could be seeing an increase of shower and thunderstorm activity from San Antonio southwards to Corpus Christi and Brownsville. So let's take a look at GFS, liquid equivalent precipitation here. So as we continue to head out through the rest of Tuesday night and Wednesday, that's quite a bit of rain here across parts of the East Coast. You definitely need it in these areas, actually, because if we look here, most of this falling, early Wednesday here, that is some great news. That's upwards of an inch or two, and especially down and through the Carolinas here, closer to 3 inches along eastern North Carolina here. That's some great news. And our next system coming onto the west coast here, let's just cruise through the rest of your weekend. We kind of add a little bit there, but not too much. There's Texas as we get into, that would be the following week, so towards December 1st and 2nd. So we're actually heading, after we get past this main system before Thanksgiving, we're actually heading towards a quiet period here. So here is your liquid equivalent here for the European model. Looking pretty similar here to the GFS, as you can see. Lots of heavy rain across the mid-Atlantic here in the southeast as we get throughout the rest of Tuesday night and early Wednesday. That's some great news. You need the rain, especially down there into the Appalachians and the Carolinas. Now look at that as we head through. You don't see too much being added Thanksgiving Day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You have that Intermountain West system out here, but not too much to talk about. Here that totals there after Thanksgiving, getting into the weekend after Thanksgiving here across Texas. You may be looking at maybe up to an inch or two here. So if we take a look at snowfall amounts here on the GFS, there it is across northern New England, those advisory criteria amounts, 3 to 6 inches locally higher, especially above 2,000 feet, where you get some of those higher totals. But here it is. Here it is across the Intermountain West, spreading into the plains. Look at this, Nebraska, Kansas. You could get a couple inches here. This is actually as we head towards later Friday, Saturday. And look at that. That energy expands back further east here. Parts of northern New York here, southeast Canada. Look at this. You're racking up quite the jackpot here for snowfall here across southeast Canada. 6 to 12. Maybe 18 inches. But look at that. Even northern New York and northern New England as we get towards, say, December 1st and 2nd. We're continuing to pile on those snowfall amounts. And then we get these west coast systems that plow inward here and actually bring quite a bit of snow to Colorado and even to parts of the plains here. So we take a look at the European model here for snowfall. There it is in northern New England, pretty much agreeing with the GFS. There's that snowfall as we head later Thanksgiving Day there across parts of the Intermountain West into parts of the western and central plains. Even parts of western Kansas picking upwards of 6+ inches of snowfall there. And there's that system as we head towards next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, towards December 1st. Mainly southeastern Canada here. So snowfall here across the northeast as we zoom in. There's those totals we'll be looking at as we head through the rest of Tuesday night and Wednesday, racking up those advisory criteria, low-end warning criteria there, 6 inches where you see some of these purple zones, maybe upwards of 8 inches there above 2,000 feet. But as we go through the rest of your Thanksgiving holiday and the weekend, you have to really go towards Monday, Tuesday of next week before we start piling on what looks to be a lake effect event here in northwest Pennsylvania, northeast Ohio here, western New York. So look at there across southeast Canada too. Monday into Tuesday, we're really racking up those totals 6, 7, 8 inches across southern Ontario and Quebec. So let's get into our CFS medium range climate model. This really gives us a good idea as we head beyond Thanksgiving and well into December here. So you see the pattern there kind of ridging here across the east and the west coast as well. Let's see if that's actually going to change as we go in time. So there it is, Wednesday the 29th into the 30th. We finally start to see a massive trough set up here across the eastern part of North America. This could actually be the turning point here where we could see some East Coast systems. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see if that's going to hold true. There's that blocking pattern up over Greenland, so that's when you start to get a negative NAO index. So something we'll have to keep an eye on, but that's quickly replaced by a ridge here across eastern North America as we head towards Tuesday, the 5th into the 6th of December here. And as we continue in time, finally, as we get towards the 8th, the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, we start to get that troughiness here across the eastern part of North America, quickly replaced by a ridge. So this is a very fast-moving flow. We do start to see that proverbial massive omega block out here into the west, and that is going to give way to a massive trough come the middle of December here. Look at this. Seems pretty persistent. Could this give way to a white Christmas? It's quite possible. We'll have to keep an eye on it here. And don't go anywhere. I have plenty more weather in just a moment, but check out my affiliate here. Here are some awesome maps.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MediaMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
So for your temperature outlook here, let's get into this for you Wednesday. It could be a lot colder. Look at this across the plains, 60s here from Denver on eastward and northeastward. You got to go way up into northern New England, the northern plains, and the northern Rockies here to get into some colder air. But by any stretch of the imagination, that is not cold either. Look at here along the East Coast, 70s all the way up in eastern North Carolina. That's with some heavy rain, though. That's some great news. But look what starts to happen as we head towards Thanksgiving Day. It's going to be bone chilling up here. This is slowly going to be pushing towards the south and the east here, getting another day up here towards 50 into the Ohio Valley, into the parts of the northeast. Into Friday, this is where we really start to see this cold air reinforce here across the Rocky Mountains into the northern plains. And look at this, a little bit of a backdoor cold front here into parts of the northeast as well into Saturday. Yeah, that's short-lived in the northeast as we get another southerly flow here. 40s well up into the Ohio Valley into the northeast. Look at this cold core of air, though. It does seem to be moderating as we head into the weekend. Sunday, there it is, a big warm push up here towards the north. Even South Texas here, holding down into the 50s to near 60. Staying pretty cold across the Rocky Mountains with that snow cover by this point, and then across the northern part of the Midwest here. And then as we round out your Monday, yeah, back to work and school after Thanksgiving holiday. Here it is. This is really warm for this time of year as we head towards December 1st. It is going to be in the 30s here across the Great Lakes. Cleveland 39, 39 in Buffalo, 38 there in Chicago, but still, it could be a lot worse. Extended outlook from our hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania. Take a look at this. This takes us through Thanksgiving. So Wednesday, we'll see some clearing, maybe some scattered showers developing throughout the day. It's actually going to be quite seasonably warm for this time of year, heading into the low to mid 50s here. Wednesday night and Thursday, look at this. It looks like a sunny day for Thanksgiving, making it to 50 degrees. Into Friday, a little bit colder as we get that cold front blasting down. 30s, but this is normal for this time of year as we head into Saturday and Sunday as well. We'll be on the rise by Sunday, near 44 degrees. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MediaMark's Weather. Don't forget, my winter 2023-24 outlook is in a link in the description down below, also appearing right in front of you on the screen as well. So check that out. Facebook, MediaMark, Twitter, @WeatherEastern, also Facebook, Weather Northeastern, and Hurricane Northeastern. Thanks for joining me. And don't forget, check out my affiliate link at Trilogy Maps below.